Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. I am back again with another Tower of God, and this time I am counting up the finale to the workshop. Now, the workshop battle isn't one of the easiest finishes in all of Tower of God. It's quite a heavy finish, to be honest, and I'm going to try my best to actually explain how things go at this last section. Okay, so in the last section of the workshop battle, what you really need to note is that a lot of things are about to go totally off the rails, and it's all mainly to do with how things end up playing in the final part. It's basically a miracle that Bam survives this battle. Okay, so here we go with all of the inconclusive things that happen in the last section, and this is a part with a lot of plot holes. So please note when you think about it and you're hearing it from my perspective, this is because I couldn't plot out all the plot holes on my own. I ended up getting very confused with a lot of their sequencing, and I hope that you can see through the problems on your own as well. Okay, so in this last section of the Tournament of Growth, Tournament of Power basically, the whole thing that happens is Viol is summoned to his team, and they have hostages, right? Now, one of the other names of the Tower of God that a lot of people like to call it is the Tower of Hostages, because Viol's biggest weakness allows you to play on other people against him. It's used so often in the Tower for Viol that it's just a continuous thing. Ever since this chapter started, it's been about hostages. Hostages, hostages, hostages. It continues on into season 3. So let's go with it moving forward. So in the final encounter, it's going to be Bam's team versus Team Fug, because they finally got themselves separated into the right places. Bam is where he wants to be. He's reunited with Kun and Rak, and they can't get away right now. They can get away right now and sacrifice the remaining 3 members of their team. However, some things that you should know. Cassino stole the devil within Ilma and rendered him unconscious. He is also on his way to the ship to go and steal Emily for Rachel, the number 1 most hated individual in all of Tower of God. Now, you'll find out why she's so hated in the next chapter, where she's just like the pits of evil. I really wish that they have a gruesome death for her. I wouldn't mind a Nia class death for Rachel, with Bam being the one to kill her, or Kun, or anybody. I really wouldn't even mind if Jahad stems her to death. I'd actually root for him during that. Really hate Rachel. But nonetheless, that is where Cassino is heading. So let's get into what happens in this final part. So they finally gather up everything to the final part, and Rossi is summoned to the field. They've interfered with the teleportation system on the Archimedes. The Archimedes has people running rampant all over the place, and things are just out of whack. Now, things aren't going to go easier from here. Things are only going to get more crazy. So the members of Team Fug decide to issue a challenge to Bam. He must come and get through the defensive and fight to get the hostages if he wants them to live. At the same time, rankers from Fug have decided to violate the rules of the tournament, extend the tail of the Archimedes, and pour the boiling solution directly onto the arena with the event going on. So they're violating a lot of rules. There's the possibility of intervention by an administrator. All of this is things that they're willing to risk right now to get their way. And by administrator, I mean the floor's administrator. You could just show up and zap them for interfering with regulars. So Bam's team ends up using Enderossi to get them to the fighting area. Bam, Kun, and Rak decide they're going to take on I'm forgetting the name of this guy, who is the main guy on the team. He wears a metal mask. I forgot his name, to be honest. And nonetheless, I even read this here less than 5 days ago to recap all of this. So yeah, I'm really bad at that. I'm actually reading up the next section for the next part of the story. So they end up meeting up with him to have their fight, and he is using Harwin as a human shield. The reason for it is quite simple. Although he is really powerful, Balm right now has the Thorn. If Balm ignites the Thorn or uses the power from the Thorn, there's no telling how powerful he will be. He could be as powerful as a high ranker, or he could be as powerful as a ranker, or he could just be multiple times more powerful than he already is. He's already unbelievably dangerous. If I had to estimate him in terms of rank to be able to draw with the ranker, he is ranker level power. Now understand, this is minimum ranker level power, not 10 Great Families ranker level power. But you'll understand what I mean in a little bit. Remember, we've already discussed that he was that level in the start of chapter 2, and this is where the inconsistencies start to plague things like no man's business. We already know he's stronger than Baragrav. We know he's stronger than Enderossi. We know none of the regulars here can actually even put up a fight against him because he is that unbelievably powerful. But the story takes a turn which, as I said, there's a lot of plot holes. So nonetheless, in this fight, the three of them facing off against this regular, he ends up using a special power from the Elder who uses shadows, and by using the power of the shadows, he'll burn up like a piece of coal, but his power is unbelievably powerful and he's resistant to reverse flow control. So he really knocks out one of Balm's aces, so Balm can't stop him. And according to him, when he uses this technique, he's equal to a B-class regular. Now, let me just put it to you this way, because we need to understand the ranking system from here. As I said, E-class, it takes them down from hundreds of thousands to maybe tens of thousands to fight a ranker. From D-class to C-class, from E-class to D-class, the drop is maybe about 5 times more powerful in a D-class regular. That tells you that it's dropping that figure by 5. So from tens of thousands, it's just a couple thousand. It might be a few tens of thousands, maybe 10 to 20,000 to make a ranker. Moving up, we get C rank regulars. C rank regulars are about double the power of the D class, and that means that they can put up a really difficult fight against a ranker. A few thousand of them will definitely do the trick against a ranker. Then we get B class regulars, where a few hundred of them will definitely take on a ranker easily. Then we get A-class regulars, where a team of them will definitely be able to put up a match against a regular ranker. They will be able to definitely fight them on par. They might be able to draw at A-class, might one-on-one a rare individual. The only known A-class regular to beat a ranker is Adori Jahad, the Princess of Jahad, who is the most powerful Princess of Jahad, ranked in the top 10 in the tower. So that's how rare it is for someone to be that powerful. And Balm, as an unlisted rank regular, was capable to draw with a ranker. That tells you that he wasn't capable of beating the rankers already at the 20th floor, but he's already that powerful. And this is 10 floors higher, with growth happening in him at an alarming rate, which is unbelievable to say the least. So that's what you need to know about why I really don't find it consistent enough at this point in the story. Now, at this point, we're just going to start focusing on the main man of the situation, Jovio Grace. So the power that he uses ignites his body, makes him resistant to reverse flow control, and improves his physical assault power many times over to that of a B-class regular. That means that Kun and Rak are going to have a tough time against this guy. There is a slight possibility they can do something to really put up a fight against him, but he is a real monster against them. For them, this is almost an unwinnable fight for those two. But for Viol, he's already far beyond this point. Remember, he can tie with the ranker. This guy is a joke. He doesn't really need all this help. He can copy his techniques because that's one of his most powerful OP. It's an excess level power, if you ask me. That's what his power is, to copy any technique. And this is what he's going up against. And the next thing that we see to happen in this here is Viol is struggling to get a hit on this guy because he's using Harwin as a shield, and we can understand this point. Because Harwin is the shield, it's very difficult for him to stop, to hit this guy. We understand if that was it. At a B class regular rate, that's how come it's impossible for him to do it. But the fact that he has backup means he should have instantly been able to overcome this hostage situation, especially since he has a light bearer and a spear bearer with him. The spear bearer can create a distraction for him, and the light bearer paired with the wave controller is the strongest combination in the tower. They definitely have the advantage against fishermen. So nonetheless, at this point, we already can judge what's going on with Viol. We understand where he should be, where Bam should be. So nonetheless, the fight starts, and the power over here is regrettably insane for where we know Viol is supposed to be at this point in the tower. And it's at this point, sorry about this, it's at this point that we realize the reason for the hostage is he's afraid of the thorn activating. Right, we already know that Bam is insane. Unless they retconned that whole situation and they removed the fight from the 20th floor with the Rancor, this is irrelevant. This guy was a joke. Viol should have been able to beat him one way or the other the moment he started using Shinsu. So nonetheless, all of this being put into play, Kun comes up with an idea. He's going to use a special item that Iwa bought for Rak, the Mad Shocker, which is a very powerful spear upgrade that's been put onto his spear. And Kun will use the item that he has won in the workshop battle, the White Heavenly Mirror, to take away the hostage from the situation. He gets Rak to throw his spear, then Kun jumps in and he pulls Harwin into the White Heavenly Mirror, and he backs off from the fight. At this point, it's now Bam versus this guy, and the fact that Bam ends up struggling against him is ridiculous to say the least. He's already fought rankers who are way more powerful than this. He's done so much more difficult than fighting off against a regular who's just suddenly boosted his power to ridiculous levels. Bam sorry about that. Bam struggles with this guy because they're E-class regulars, and they're trying to indicate that he's not as powerful as he was 10 floors below, which is kind of a plot hole as far as I'm concerned. You can't have someone weaken that much when everything about him is he's growing at such an alarming rate. He's so crazy powerful. He can wipe out an entire team. He has this type of power. He's equal to a Rancor. He drew with the Rancor. He did this. He did so many insane things that it's irrelevant of what they're saying right now. So nonetheless, he's fighting off against this guy. His Shinsu power is weird and unusual and unpredictable thanks to his shadow hits, and he hits Bam. Now, what is the one thing we know about Bam? You hit him with the power and he mimics. So you hit him with your shadows, what's the next thing that you're going to expect? Shadow Shinsu power control. All of a sudden, nothing happens. He doesn't end up using this ridiculous power. They fight. Eventually, the thorn starts to unravel. It allows him to use reverse flow control, which is irrelevant. Remember, without the thorn, he's already that crazy powerful. The thorn opens. He can now control the Shinsu control, and they end up beating this guy. At this point, he reveals that even though they beat him, they're all dead because the burning solution is going to be poured onto them right now with him inside there. He doesn't care. He's willing to be used to complete the task that he was charged with. And that was getting Viol to be the weapon for the Slayer Karaka and the Slayer Yama. And nonetheless, the team finally finds a way out. And that's what happens with Bam, Kun, and Rak. Now on the other side, Enderosi and Huts take on Baragrav and his light bearer Angel. Now Baragrav is a fisherman, and the other team is also a very powerful combination, a fisherman and a scout. Fisherman and a scout are one of the most powerful situations you can go up against in a formation as well. They're very well suited to that type of combat. So nonetheless, everybody meets up at this point, and this is where things get so crazy. Ender Rossi ends up fighting Baragrav. Now Baragrav has the ultimate defense in the form of his shadow dog that attack you when you attack him. So it's an instant counter attack. And he has the Blood Tamara, which makes him almost invincible to standard attacks. His resistance is through the roof, and if he uses Shinsu resistance, it's even higher. So he's almost impenetrable with the counter offense that activates without you even hitting him. The fight goes on for a while. Eventually, Ender Rossi decides to use the Bong Bong, pick up Baragrav, jump into the air and slam him into the ground. At which point he is very badly injured and it breaks through the Blood Tamara's defense. On the other side, Hats grabs Angel and threatens to kill her because he likes to be a fair fighter. He says it's simply fair, you took hostages, we're taking hostages. If you don't surrender right now, we'll kill her. Straight up, hostage for hostage. Hostage situation dissolved. They stop their fight. Baragrav ends up losing to Ender Rossi. Everything is over. There's no more fighting to happen at this point. That is over. And the rankers are now involved with regulars. At this point, things are going crazy all over the place. On the ship, Madarocco, the catfish, is in charge of, he's a businessman. He has betrayed the workshop and he sold the container to Casino instead of to the workshop like he was supposed to hold Emily and transport her off the ship. So they end up taking Emily like that, and they end up trying to pour the solution with everybody watching on the regulars by a ranker, which is a violation. Liraro jumps in to fight the ranker. They have a little bit of a squabble, and as they're about to make an escape, another ranker shows up. Quant ends up fighting this ranker, and as all of this is going on, somebody intervenes on the Archimedes, telling them to stop this instant. At that point there, Madarocco calls off his men on the field, saying if you'll keep this up, he can wipe out our entire trade organization. They fall back, they pull off, and Bam wins. At this point, this individual allows them to announce the winners of the tournament, and Woola Yuksong takes Bam into their custody. We then find out that the person who intervened is one of the 10 great warriors, Gustang Bido. Bidu Pao. I'm not sure how to say it. But nonetheless, Gustang is the one who has interfered in this tournament, and he's the one who helped out the entire situation. He's been watching it from the moment it started because he wanted to see how well Bam could overcome all these adversities. He is working on behalf of the great teacher of the workshop. I'll get into that after I'm done with the climb of the tower. And that is where this arc ends. Now, Woola Yuksang takes Bam and the rest of his friends to one of their resorts where they're safe under the protection of Woola Yuksang. Woola Yuksang makes sure that they away from our prying eyes. They're safe. Bam manages to take back the name Bam. He doesn't have to live as Jovial Grace. The message with Pug is that he won the tournament, and because they were both cheating, they're counting it as a fair win for Viol, and they must now leave him alone. And at this point, Bam goes and Bam goes on a date with Ender Rossi, which was promised to him in season 1. If you listen to my final part of the submerged fish hunt, you found out that Ender Rossi had said that that's why he must come back alive. Ender Rossi takes him on the date. You find out how much he cares for him. You find out why she likes him so much. You find out that she's still jealous of the fact that he likes Rachel. All of this plays into it. Rachel gets introduced to Hurang and the Traveler, along with Emily getting into her hands. And from here, things are getting ready for the next arc of the tower. We get a hint that the next arc is going to be the Hell Train. There is a regular from Woola Yuksang, and Woola Yuksang only pulls in extremely talented individuals, so trust me, if there's a regular in there, it's something spectacular. His name is Tumalan, and we don't know what powers he has. For all we know, he could be Andrew Reborn. I've heard that joke from another one of the YouTubers, Dr. Bonehead. But nonetheless, he's a powerful replacement regular who they have working with Willa Yuksong. And his goal is to take on and conquer the Hell Train. He wants to get to the end and end up on the hidden floor. Now, all of this is discussed now, which makes what I'm about to say even more crazy, because I said this is the place with the biggest amount of plot holes. They forget about all of this in the next chapter. In the next chapter, Bam's power seems way nerfed from what it was already. You're going to see the moment we get onto what happens at the next set when he becomes a D-class regular. Remember, he's already ridiculously powerful. And then all of a sudden, his power grows again, and I'll explain that as we get to that point. Oh my goodness, this is like so complicated, which is what's about to come. I hope that you are all ready for the Hell Train. The Hell Train is the best arc of the Tower of God. Now, I'm just going to give a little bit of a spoiler. I was going to stop this video right here. The Hell Train involves the Slayer nominee competition. It involves the Name Hunt Station. It involves the Floor of Death. It involves a talk about Enryu, which is on its own bigger than all of those other things. It involves the Hidden Floor, and it involves the Final Station arc. Now that's 6 arcs, and I intend to go through all of that to finish season 2. And once I am done with this, then I can really explain a lot to you. We'll head into season 3 with the basis of the start of it. I'm not going to spoil that just yet, because season 3 I feel is a little bit of a heavy one, because it was out for a full year. You had a chance to read the first half of it, but the second half you most probably haven't, what has come out right now. I will get into that second half past episode 90. So season 3 I'll continue with just the Cage arc. Sorry. And after the Cage arc, I'm just going to go dark on it. I won't touch on anything that's happening on that side from the point of the climb, because the climb is basically a massive summary of each arc, if you haven't noticed at the moment. And I'm calling them each arcs because these could be separate chapters on their own. If you count that first floor, each one of them made major parts of their advancement. The first test, the second test, the hide and seek test, the positioning, all of it were important pieces, and the way in which I situated it tells you that they were important. So I hope that you all stay tuned for the Hell Train. Catch you all then. Have a good day.